Hey everyone, Etchy here. To kick off this Philosopher's Corner series I'll be doing, I'm going to talk a little bit about mental models. Today I'm going to cover two of them that I use pretty much every day in both my personal and professional life. These models are a tool set that you can use to successfully navigate a wide variety of situations that may come up in your life. But first, what is a mental model? Well, a mental model is a way of thinking that allows you to frame situations to put them in a sort of common box so that you can solve a bunch of problems using the same thought process. Mental models are great because they can make us more effective at communicating with others as well as greatly improve our social and problem solving skills. They give you a solid groundwork to approaching problems that will give you an edge in most situations. The two models that I'm going to cover today are from a subclass called razors. They're known as razors because they help us shave off unnecessary information so that we can make decisions that are better and make those decisions faster. Using Occam and Hanlon's razors effectively will lead to a happier, more stress-free life. You will seem like someone who is helpful, can think on their feet, and is always solving problems. And besides, does anybody really want to look less prepared when faced with a problem-solving situation? No takers? Well, let's dive in. So first, let's talk about Occam's razor. Occam's razor states, when there are multiple possible solutions, the one requiring the least assumptions is preferred. In other words, the simpler the explanation, the more likely it is to be correct. Occam's razor is attributed to the Franciscan friar William of Occam way back in the 1300s. A famous use for this razor in today's times is commonly referred to as the zebra. Theodore Woodward, an American medical researcher, wrote about this model in 1940 when he penned, "When you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras." A zebra, in medical terms, is a diagnosis that is pretty exotic, when there is a more commonplace explanation available for the illness. There are tons of uses for this in everyday life, and looking for answers to problems that require the least amount of assumptions or ridiculous things happening will keep you focused and grounded. An everyday example of this would be walk into your car after work and noticing that your tire is flat. It's way more likely that you rolled over a nail on the way into work than Debbie from accounting slashed your tire because your expense report was late. On the screen are a few other examples of Occam's razor that I'll leave you with before we move on to Hanlon's razor. Let me know in the comments if you can think of any other good ones. The other razor that we're going to talk about today, Hanlon's, is a much more recently developed theory. And I've changed it a little bit from the original so that we can apply it to more uses. Hanlon's razor originally states, never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. But I change out the word stupidity for several words, carelessness, ignorance, good old plain incompetence when I'm using this tool. In simple terms, when you're looking at a situation where someone has done something that has offended you, hurt your feelings, or made you angry, it helps to remember that they most likely didn't do it specifically to hurt your feelings. In fact, it's much more likely that they just weren't thinking much about their actions, or they were unaware of the full situation. Maybe they're bad at communication, or don't understand their job, etc. It could be a lot of different things. Hanlon's razor actually describes a type of very common fundamental attribution error that we humans make. We tend to place too much emphasis on internal characteristics, such as character or intention, rather than placing it on the external factors, such as a lack of concern, ignorance to a situation, or being under time constraints. If we take the time to think about why someone reacted in a way that offended us, we will likely come to a better understanding about the person, thus improving our emotional intelligence. A high level of emotional intelligence can take you very far in life. Hanlon's razor is typically attributed to one of two sources. Robert A. Hanlon wrote a book called The Logic of Empire in 1941. That book contained a very similar model that he called the devil theory fallacy. Hanlon wrote of one of his characters, "You have attributed conditions to villainy that simply resulted from stupidity." A more direct version of the current razor that we use was found in 1980 in a joke book about Murphy's Law, of all places. The author, Robert J. Hanlon, penned the original version that we talked about earlier. This razor can be used quite often in daily life. Anytime I feel hurt, angry, or confused by someone else's actions, whether in the workplace, general public, or my family, I often think through this process. For instance, did Dave really ignore my email and then go over my head to our boss? Or was he too busy in the field and not seeing things, having a bad connection, or just not knowing how to use computers very well? Or while driving, did this person really cut me off and then stop 50 feet later to try to get me to crash into their car and sue me? Or are they just lost, texting on their phone, or a terrible driver? As you can see, both of these razors can be used in tandem because they serve to find simple explanations that are reasonable for problems that you're having. I hope you like this video. I plan on making this into a series where I cover several mental models that I found effective in making life easier or experiencing more success. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's brand new and I could really use the help. If you have any questions or have come across situations where these razors have helped you in your life, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to read about it. Until next time, thanks.